Afro Samurai, anime, manga, video game. It is a story of a man corrupted and persuaded for means of violence to get to where he wants, to gain the one thing that would give him peace, and take out the man that took everything in front of him. A story with a man stained by violence to the point where he disregards his entire humanity to become a hollow, demon-time man, reckoning black and force energy like no other, and still being cleanly swift and inanimate with it. Afro Samurai is the greatest anti-hero slash great character to hero ever in fiction to me. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why, showcase my love for this series, the case of the creator, Takahashi, if I'm saying his name right, and most importantly, talking about pretty much just the reason why Afro Samurai will always be an underrated gem in the grand scope.
Give me head, 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 baby, give me head, and she finna, give me head, she wanna come and just, give me head, I don't wanna fuck just, yeah, all of these niggas are hating on me, but it's been with her, yeah, his mama, keep your clothes on and give me head, yeah, all of these niggas ain't told me to walk on the motherfucking beat, I ran, I blow the shit up, really, and I ran, that's if I'm the girl, like, bitch, I am. And I slam this bitch like a motherfucking slave. The minute she saw me, you know that she flashed. She fucking with me cause she know I'm a head. GLOUP, they wanna be like me. Can't walk in my session, it's VIP. I'm so high up, can't be where I be. Like, don't try us a DIE.
The whole series embarks in a whole case of cycles multiple times, but the main reason for all of this all stems from the case of the iconic headbands of multiple characters. The headbands, no one knows where they came from, but all we know is that they grace a man with a limited power if in the matter of becoming the number one headband wielder. And the number one headband represents the means of being God in the world of Afro Samurai, standing at the mountaintop of where the throne of God stands, where the case of multiple of the headbands were more and more passed about. As I don't necessarily think it's a flaw within the series, but in regard for the headbands and what they stem from and what they're supposed to symbolize, is a multi-case of people going down a path of means of power and losing themselves because of it, I perceive. As someone like Kuma at the end of Afro Samurai Season 1, aka the General Matter of Afro Samurai, would collect all these headbands to get to Afro, which in this case is a whole pathway that lines up every matter of headband. And the way Justice talks about it in the anime, and how he suggests the matter of the stand for getting all the way to the top here, is the case of that no matter how many headbands people get, no matter how many case of matter of times people die for a feeble means of cloth, in the grand scope, it more and more drains the person that does all the killing, pours none but blood out from his veins more and more to kill, because of the fact that the headbands, if anything, are just symbols of different unfortunate cuss of grace of violence, vengeance, and simple means of callousness. As at the end of the day, Justice killed Afro's father to gain the headband at first, because of the fact that he believed that the way Afro's father was using it was disrespecting the stand for being the number one, as the number one is like God in the grandstand, in this case representing ultimate power, possible case of semblance of immortality, and just the grandstand powerhouse of the verse. Justice decapitated him with his third arm and proved, in the case of an honorable duel, that he was the better man and wanted to represent a cycle of violence and disorder. As instead of people just killing frantically and crazily, people would kill in a simple stream. People would do things out of a simple slave insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting shit to change. And all around, that's what the headbands are supposed to be a cycle of. A case of somebody doing something unwaveringly out of pocket to get to something that truly in the grand scope will not gain them anything better. And even if it does in some sense, the value of it more and more lessens because of the simple fact of how much you will lose to grace this power. And so after killing Afro's father right in front of him with a clean ass decapitation and having Afro see his father's energy drain from his pupils, Afro forever then was a man stained by violence. Unlike other regarded anti-heroes, where on some occasions they are consumed by the out-of-pocket and unfortunate means of killing and disaster, or consumed by vengeance, or consumed by violence, like Frank Castle, to me, I feel like Afro is not in the same sense of the lane as them. From an actual character stand, would account for why they are who they are, or in the plane of that. I feel like Afro, because of his inspiration slash baseness or something that is a real life matter, is more of a man stained by violence and not in the same credit or consumed by that. As if it was the case for being consumed by violence, he would just be out here recklessly and impetuously killing with no sense of value to it. As in his own words, nothing personal, just revenge. And this is greatly shown within the Afro Samurai soundtrack, as every matter of song from the Afro Samurai game to anime, even the movie Afro Samurai Resurrection, all reckons every aspect of why Afro does what he does, regardless of being sensible, great, or just completely objectively immoral. Everything he does is the definement of a man that goes about a path of lawlessness and uncaring for a greater means of himself and nothing else. A man that is just selfish, not in the sense of just being gradually on fuck shit. He's just a man in general that was stamping his foot down on the ideal that nothing matters but the headband. Nothing matters but my flimsy code of honor, my integrity to the idea that I need to kill and kill to grace the one thing that meant the most to my father, to where he would lose his life in front of me to have. He needed to have the thing that was the last essence of his father, the last remedy of someone that he loved. He's a man, like a lot of people in real life, who is inspiration to unfortunate delinquents and tragedy on the streets of America or any other place where a young man or woman has to go for all case of matter of hellish hate to grace something of better means for themselves, because that's the only life that they know. Afro, like a lot of brothers, is arrogant in value, thinking that because of him losing someone else, that everyone else does not matter in the grand scope, as he is so consumed by the idea of vengeance in the general stand, but at the same time violence, as he was killing from a young age to grace the means of possibly finding a number two. And no matter if he had friends, family, a brother in arms, and a little girl that looked up to him, and later on in the grand form future we see that he has love for Osuru, aka Okiku, even though Osuru's a real name and Kiku's a fake name, but still, this man Afro just does not care, because to him the only thing that matters is the headband. Without the headband, he's not filled. He's not filled with a means of better purpose. As to be filled without the case of matter of the headband wrapped around his head is pretty much just a lone walking swordsman. He's not a samurai that lives by a strong sense of code of honor, that even if it's not having strong sense of means, at least has some strength of purpose as the code of what the people of his people lives by. Afro doesn't have no people, not anymore. He disregarded them. He dispersed every systematic of his humanity to get the job done. He killed a father figure like for him to go ahead and get something more. In the case of his father figure in the anime, in the manga, and the same time in game, even if you have a boss battle with him, Swordmaster, which I'm not gonna lie, is just kind of a plain name. I just count him as something that he teaches, what is being said, which I understand a problem with. When in this case, like, he's just a simple case of plot puff up, you know what I'm saying? In the case of his journey to becoming number one, or in this case, journey of a multi-course of violence. Okay, he's supposed to be a simple, plain character within, I guess, a case of character stasis, but then strikes a new case of matter, a bliss into a new whirlwind of cool shit for Afro, as he's supposed to be a representation of what Afro will do to get the headband. And Afro strikes new bad each time he does it, showcasing that in an anti-hero sense, right? he would have to go ahead and show that you are not a normal nigga, or in the consensus that you are not a hero or a person of some more considerably good stand to grace whatever means that you want. As every anti-hero across fiction, except in real life, will do something that's considerably selfish and deliberate malice, arguably, to gain what they want. And Afro, in this case, will do that in showcasing, right, that he does not give a fuck about no one but his own means. He will mercilessly kill people that did come to go ahead and jump his ass and seem racially motivated in the mix, as a joke, and kill all of them brutally. And even the guy that's the leader of this whole gang said, why did you have to do this? And he said, none personal, just revenge. But everything that he does considerably is personal. He is a master of killing, and persistently showcases that, yeah, there might be some things that are good to him, good, maybe heart, spirit, and for the matter of someone like Ninja, which is obviously a figment of his imagination or a demon that crept into his mind when he became the number 2 after he killed his master and saw his brother fall from the mountaintop of the blossom tree and die. Simply was all a gradual showcasing that, yeah, there might be something more to Afro psyche, but unfortunately is more and more getting drained because everything that he does is at a means of out-of-pocket and unfortunate death stand. Afro is a representation of every man on the blocks of uncertainty and tragedy. A man that only knows one life and does it out of foolish means of integrity. Afro is chaotic, callous, selfish, the pride of humanity. He's a man stained by violence, like a lot of brothers and sisters that have had nigga moments, driven by unfortunate bloodshed, and go down cycles of nothing but disturbing intent. Afro is a representation of a lot of boys, unfortunately, that don't even get to turn old normally and have to go paths that are not sensible for the mind or spirit or even physicality. But he goes down anyway, because it's the only life he knows. In the words of one of the songs, in the case of Matter of the Soul, the samurai, when really Afro moves like a ronin, like I said, no code of honor, no strong sense of that, especially look at his attire. You live by the sword, you will die by the sword. And Afro is every sense of that.
What did your uncle say?
And that's why I love him. Afro did everything he did because a man named Justice took a man that he loved, the only family that we see of him truly, right in front of him. And any man or woman probably want to get a get back for the case of their family member being killed in front of him at a young age like that. I mean, this man Justice Bruce Wayne'd him. But it was even more devastating because of the fact of Afro's father leaving most likely Afro's mother because of the fact that she would be in danger even more. And this man, Afro's father, wanted to actually raise him and do something good for him. But Justice, regardless of being level 99 dick riding, said that you can't do that because of the path it will bring you. And someone like Afro, subconsciously, without even having to actually full listen to the entire reason why Justice killed Afro's father in the first place, is shown because everywhere Afro goes, there's the demise of somebody. Someone that he cares about, cruel or not,
I'm sorry I didn't free you sooner.
he's going to die, regardless of anything. His loved ones died because of his selfishness. Osuru died, yes, considerably out of her own case of betraying, but considerably Afro could have showed a lot more care for her. And even in the case of the game when he does, Afro never speaks out the words of having love for her. And even though it is shown by him taking the case of her comb and putting it inside his hair for the means of Ninja, who we know again is really just a alternate side of his mind, with this being said, aka the comedic relief as my nigga Samuel Jackson is the GOAT. He simply put does not have enough sense of love to really care for her in the grander scope. No matter if they shared a night of great intimate love or she meant into him in the past. Afro is simply stained by violence too hard to even give a damn. And this is shown ridiculously in every sense of the way. But he's so complex with it because he'll die knowing this, and he's content with it because this is the only road that he knows. There's no light or dark, there's only gray in his body, and this is shown within his color palette of being gray, and in the case of the manga, obviously being a manga, which is being said in the style, it's best reckoned and feel, right? And the only case of matter of color that's represented in him is his iconic afro, earrings, considered even though they're gray too, cool earrings, and the headband, with the number 2 being a life of violence, which is why Swordmaster, his father figure, his teacher, basically allowed him to kill him, and even in the case of the game, basically taught the fact that him killing him will not bring his father back, will not do nothing good for him, it will be bad. And Afro did not care. He disregarded everything. And even in the game, where in the ending, he lets go of the case of the headbands and pretty much just disregards the entire purpose why he did what he did, finding out that Justice this entire time was dead, and the same time in the manga. But the thing that makes it so deeply saddening but so intricate in writing is the fact that Afro, even in both, fell to his knees, unraveling the fact that he killed so many just because of a simple duel in the grand scope that had nothing to really do with Afro. It's not his fault that his father died, and even his father, as a beheaded man, whispered out to his son not to avenge him because it would be a life of nothingness for him. He killed so many to go ahead and avenge his father, and he never got. There's no sense of pleasure, there's no sense of grander scope, purpose for him. There's no sense of value in his entire tenure as a samurai. It's all for nothing. And the only grace of what he could do is letting go of it and making a better path, which is a very defined character thing for him. But even though I think he's dope, there's an argument that it doesn't hold the same reckon of a fortunate sense of lifestyle that more and more stains the core of his soul beyond comprehension to where there is nothing left. There's no light or black in the case of Afro. It is only gray. His soul is a bottomless pit. Not in the same sense of Homelander, where he's not even technically a man of any worthy respect or disrespect. It's a man that unfortunately is drained so much of the core goodness of his being, and he's just bad now in some certainty because of the road that he goes, but not necessarily the man that he rose. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, to me, Afro Samurai is the most interesting anti-hero to gray character, within the means of him being anti that does go about means of good to get vengeance, killing bad people, bounty hunters and mercenaries, even though they might have their own case of reason, even though it's all for a means of selfishness to gain power, and killing the empty 7, who are all people that are just crazed mad lives, right, that want to go and get the number 2 headband. He still does a great deal of bad and is dispersing more and more any sense of humanity or goodness to himself because of his selfish means to get the number 1 headband. So, in conclusion, with the case of the overarching stand, which is shown multiple times, not just in the anime or in the manga, and the greater deeperness of it, even when he kills Justice, he doesn't care about any of that deep psychological, physiological, greater debate shit. He's like, nigga, you killed my father, run the hands. This man becomes the man that he always hated, he always was pursuing to kill. Again, like I said, to rescind my statement, to reiterate as well, he killed somebody to go ahead and grace the pleasure of getting vengeance for his father. And in the anime, which I think is the greatest version of Afro, only on the fact that he goes down an endless cycle of violence, insanity, on some vile shit, just because he doesn't have anything great. He will kill his friend to grace this, regardless if his friend is right or wrong, even if he doesn't want to kill his brother-in-arms, Kuma, aka Gino. He will kill someone like Justice, no matter the case, because that's the only life that he knows. He becomes the number 1, becomes God, and in the case of Afro Samurai Resurrection, power falls with the comic form of time skip, even with again being a manga, right? This man is secluded, not having no problems with nobody, but all his bad catch up with him, and in my opinion, not the best manner of writing, but it's still intricate in the cases of the journey, all the things that he will do to grace it. He'll kill a man like Shinjuku, a man who has done nothing to him, a man that, from all his purposes, was a man trying to make a good life for our adopted son. Well, that's not his son, but he loves more than anything else. And Afro doesn't care. All he cares about is the cloth. The girl tells him that Afro knows this, but he doesn't say anything. At the end of the day, it is just a cloth. It is not of that much seriousness. It is not something that you should be killing a man over. But Afro is just like, nigga, I don't give a damn. You're in my way. So do a dirty tactic, arguably pussy in the fight, and kill him. Because if he didn't do that, I'm not gonna lie, I think it might have been GG's for Afro, regardless of them being dead even 4 times in every second. But he kills him, takes the headband, kills him in front of his son, just like Justice did him when he was just a boy, like the boy. Go after Ziho and Gino, go ahead and kill his father in an honorable 1v1 after all this stuff. And the only sense of humanity he showcases is giving the boy the headband that he once had, so when he's ready he can come get it back in blood. And in the case of the manga, the most unsettling thing of Afro is that in the manga he goes about killing the boy even after him growing up, having the excuse of fighting him, decapitates him. And there's no joyous thing, there is no salvage of a better humanity, nothing. Because Afro waited years. Because in case not obvious, Afro is like old as fuck. Like the timeline, slash the map, is like bonkers, right? Because like in the anime, mainline mixed with the game, he like what? Like pushing 40, mid 40s, damn near 50, depending how you perceive it. Nigga old as fuck, okay? And then like in the case of the manga, of course, at the same time the movie, what is being said, he gotta be like, I don't fucking know, 60, 70, you can even argue 80 if you really think he's a 50 stand, like I said before. He's bonkersly, ridiculously aged, and like he waited so long for this boy to grow up and kill him, and Afro in his old age still being goated enough, I guess, to go ahead and kill him, he decapitates him. And Afro falls to his knees with Ninja smiling in the background thing. And he just starts laughing manically, disturbingly.
I need to get off this island.
And it pans off into black within the sky. He lost himself for the unneeded means of violence. Killed and killed for the grace of having the honor of having a thing that meant so much to his father, to where he lost his life for. And like Afro, he will lose his life possibly in the end, but he lost himself, not just his life. Afro's father at least had a means of a good means of life. Afro has no life. His life is the incarnate of violence. Killing and killing just for the case of the lifestyle, nothing else. Afro, like a lot of brothers, is a man stained by a fortunate killing. And to me, that's more interesting than any anti-hero or gray character in fiction to me, because of how complex, divinely driven, and how it's echoed in every matter of his being. His color, the art, the music, the story, his fighting style, everything. Afro Samurai, a man stained by violence.